The second he started talking about Obama, I was like, oh, he's guilty.
Yeah.
Also, like, why are you talking about Obama and treason? You got a guy who has sex with teenagers that you are protecting.
Trump's Epstein ties have always been a ticking time bomb, and Rogan and Schulz just lit the fuse in their recent podcasts, which has completely baffled the Republican supporters. From his cover-ups to his silence on who he's really protecting, this isn't politics anymore. It's power, corruption, and secrets spilling into the open.
He is rebuking the base, like almost like spitting in their face. Like they are asking for it. He campaigned on it. He puts Bongino and Cash in there, which might be the stupidest thing in the history of the world. Like, why would you put the two guys that have nonstop pounded the pavement talking about how we're going to expose this Epstein thing, and the second they get in there, like, you better shut the up.
Yeah, to shut him up.
Go on Rogan, lie. Like, it is a very peculiar thing. It worked in that I think it moved any of the smoke off of Trump, because at least for me, I was like, there's no way that he's involved if he's putting Bongino and Cash in who have campaigned on exposing it. Like, why would you hire those guys or appoint those guys, right? So I'm like, he can't be. But the fact that he will not touch this, and then this last week, him doing the distractions,
Bro.
dropping the MLK file. Like, who asked for the MLK file?
This is classic Trump sleight of hand. Promise the base the moon, then slip out the back door when it's time to deliver. He campaigned on exposing Epstein, hyped it up, and even put Bongino and Cash, the loudest Epstein hawks, into the mix. And then, total muzzle job. Shut them up, bury the noise, and toss out shiny distractions like the MLK files instead. To the base, it feels less like leadership and more like betrayal. Almost like he's spitting in their face after selling them the very fight they begged him to take on.
The second he started talking about Obama, I was like, oh, he's guilty.
Yeah.
Also, like, why are you talking about Obama and treason? You got a guy who has sex with teenagers that you are protecting.
The moment he veers into Obama is not a distraction. It's a confession disguised as rhetoric. He's the same man who once said, "I've known Jeff Epstein for 15 years. Terrific guy. Many of them are on the younger side." That's not an offhand comment, it's chilling in retrospect. Meanwhile, Virginia Jeffrey, the teen trafficked survivor recruited into Epstein's network at 16, died by suicide at 41 in April 2025 after years of fighting for justice. So when the conversation skips the survivors and lands on conspiracy instead, that silence isn't innocent. It's a spotlight on what never got said.
Do you remember this?
Yeah.
They tried to promote this. Like, they were building this excitement up for us to just get, I don't know, what is it? What is the term? Like the wind taken out of our sails?
Yeah.
Whatever. So the fact that his tune has changed from, hey, let's have a social media moment with the binders, to, you guys are still talking about this guy? Yeah, we're talking about it because of you.
Yeah.
You're the one that keeps the conversation going when you hand out the binders to the social media influencers.
Yep.
You're the one that keeps the conversation going when your
FBI director goes on podcast and says nothing happened, he killed himself. Yep.
Okay. So it has to go to him. Especially for him to go, why are you guys still talking about this? Because you wanted us to talk about it.
Yeah.
You promoted it.
Yeah.
It's peak political 180 degrees. In February, Pam Bondi handed out crown-sealed Phase 1 Epstein binders to pro-Trump influencers in the West Wing, clearly hyping the scoop. Fast forward, Trump snaps, "Are you still talking about Jeffrey Epstein? This guy's been talked about for years," when the chatter didn't stop. Now his own MAGA camp is seething, calling it a bait and switch, accusing DOJ and Bondi of overpromising and under-delivering, and demanding accountability. They riled the crowd, and when the crowd showed up, they got blamed for doing exactly what was encouraged. Hypocrisy doesn't get more textbook than that.
This is what the Atlantic posts. If the Epstein scandal teaches us anything, it's that America needs a dedicated and decently funded group of people whose job it is not to just ask questions, but to find answers. And then this guy, Sean Davis, posts, "The woman on the right is Ghislaine Maxwell. She trafficked children for Jeffrey Epstein. The woman on the left owns your magazine." This is so fucking wild.
Yeah.
Just that alone is so wild that they would have the balls to post that. We need dedicated journalists, not just people asking questions, which is like, for sure, an attack on podcasts. Like, listen, you guys didn't do shit.
Yeah.
You didn't do shit. So just the fact that we're just asking questions along with that? Or is this a knock on the defunding of PBS, which is essentially a propaganda network for the Democratic Party?
The irony writes itself. America needs a dedicated and decently funded squad to uncover the truth, not just ask questions, says The Atlantic. Yet within days, the GOP-led rescission bill stripped $1.1 billion from the Corporation for Public Broadcasting, provisioning cuts for 1,500 local PBS and NPR stations. On the same timeline, Sean Davis tweets, "The woman on the right is Ghislaine Maxwell. She trafficked children for Epstein. The woman on the left owns your magazine." Suddenly, journalism is owned by the predator. In headline terms, we're being told to demand rigorous journalism while actively dismantling the institutions that provide it and elevating a tweet mocking press ownership in the process. That's not regime journalism, it's performative collapse.
This stuff is so crazy because when Kash Patel was on here and he was like, there's nothing. And I was like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
I didn't even know what to say. My thought was, and people are like, why didn't you push back more? My thought was like, I'm just going to put this out there and let the internet do its work. Because there's nothing I can... The guy's saying there's no tapes, there's no video. That doesn't make any sense. Everyone knows it doesn't make any sense. The whole thing was nuts. And then he's like, well, we have a film. We're going to release that film. And the film has a minute missing from it.
Yeah.
Like, do you think we're babies? Like, what is this?
That missing 2 minutes and 53 seconds isn't a glitch. It might be your last thread of belief in the official version unraveling. Forensics experts confirm the DOJ-released footage came from stitched-together clips, not raw tape. But even when Elon Musk calls the DOJ memo the final straw, and Steve Bannon insists he's literally in the files, the real outrage isn't mystery, it's betrayal. At this point, what wasn't shown, whose voice was erased, whose timestamp disappeared, speaks louder than any image ever could.
You know.
But how does Pam Bondi say we have thousands of hours of footage, and then Kash Patel says we don't have anything that you're looking for?
Yeah.
And then Tim Dillon said he has lunch with J.D. Vance, and J.D. Vance says that 10,000 hours is commercial pornography.
When the story devolves into competing spreadsheets instead of accountability, you've crossed into absurdity. Pam Bondi's tens of thousands of Epstein videos supposedly under FBI review skyrocketed expectations, only for Kash Patel to officially report they turned up nothing worth releasing. At a private dinner, J.D. Vance dismissed those grand totals as commercial pornography, in other words, worthless. So here's the mashup. Some say there's a mountain of evidence, others say there's nothing at all. That leaves us with a political version of Schrodinger's video, existing and not, depending on who's turning the lens. It's not about truth anymore. It's about who gets to define silence as success.
Award-winning scientists, like famous people, politicians, world leaders, all to one place. You're basically throwing as much shit against the wall as you can.
Yeah.
And then you have all this stuff on all these different people, and they know it. And so then you just kind of like, wasn't there like some CEO that had to step down because he wound up giving Epstein, it was found out that he gave Epstein like $150 million that they couldn't explain why?
Oh. Okay.
Wasn't that the case, Jamie? So it's one of those things where there's obviously value in having all these people on your side.
Yeah.
But when you do get all this information on these people, like, what are they trying to accomplish with it? This is the question. Are they trying to get support for Apollo CEO to step down after firm finds more payments to Jeffrey Epstein? $158 million. He paid the convicted sex offender $158 million.
What does it? If you can you scroll down a little bit, Jamie?
The level of spectacle is staggering. You line up Nobel laureates, world leaders, and award-winning scientists, creating a facade of legitimacy, only to find out behind the curtain that one of your star backers, Apollo's CEO, quietly paid a sex offender $158 million for services no one can explain, and they stepped down. Senate investigators now say that the same mystery funding scheme may have actually financed Epstein's operations in the Virgin Islands. And the real figure? It wasn't $158 million. It was closer to $170 million, which the CEO referred to as just business. That's not a shock, it's a calculated distraction. It doesn't matter how many people you invite to lunch or who signs your checks if you owe the receipts. When the gig is more showbiz than truth serum, the only thing you're broadcasting is how deep the cover is. Now, if you have liked our insights on the matter, Then subscribe to our channel for more of such detailed analysis on this political tug of war.